Hello, Corba crew. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm gonna get right into things today, because yesterday I made a post in the Discord that I want to talk about. Now, if you're not in the Discord, there will be a link in the description. Normally, should be, unless I'm lazy, which I normally always am. So if you don't find the Discord, then just go to the Twitch. You'll find it. You'll find it somehow, okay? Let's not get stuck on the Discord part. That's not what it's about today. So, this episode will air before any other sort of fun stuff because I had to talk about this, right? I had to talk about it a little bit at least. Yesterday, as the Discord users will have seen, I posted a message saying, hey guys, I'm not feeling well, I can't stream today because I'm going to be saying the wrong things. Now it's time to say the wrong things in a different way, right? So, basically I was getting overwhelmed with negative feelings and negative information mainly, causing the feelings obviously. So I was just kind of tired of it, I was just kind of getting tired of it, and just sick of everything. So I really needed to turn off my Discord, turn off my my sort of all the social media where I would get news of any kind of the online world. I just had to turn that off because it just was getting too much stuff that I don't understand. There are things that I don't agree with, but usually I understand them, and that is something really important to me. I have this obsessive need almost to actually understand the other side of issues, right? The other side of things that I just don't agree with. I want to engage in conversation. I want to learn and to understand why people think I'm wrong, and sometimes I even change my opinion because they make a valid point. I start understanding them and I'm like, hey, well, there's some truth to it. So maybe I am indeed wrong. I'm so used to being wrong. I'm the youngest in my family, so I was always young as a child. So I'm kind of used to being wrong and changing my opinion on stuff all the time. So I completely accept that. So that is why sometimes when there's this overhaul of information, of negative, hateful information that I just can't understand, it does get frustrating. And yesterday was one of these days where I just couldn't get it done. I was reaching sort of a breaking point in the fact that there was so much messed up stuff. It just wasn't right, in my opinion, right? So that was a bit of that, and that is why that happened. But I also realized I have this attitude, and I want to keep that attitude. That was why I was getting mad at myself. I want to keep that attitude of, hey, the world can do whatever it wants. I just want to have a good time living here. Okay, I have a good time making other people have a good time. So I try to just, live your life and enjoy your life to the fullest. That is kind of the philosophy that I would love to adhere to and would love to follow a bit. But sometimes you just can't help it. You see things in the news, you see things, you see conversations online, and you just get sucked in because you do care about some stuff. You can't live your life to the fullest if you never care about anything, right? So, yeah. And that is why I started complaining to a friend of mine. And she just said, like, well, I mean, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't matter that much to you, to your life. So just enjoy your life. Just F it, right? And I'm like, well, fair point. That is kind of what I've always done, right? I just kind of focus on my life and just enjoy my life. And one thing I'm passionate about is entertaining. I like entertaining. So that is a bit what I should focus on in my life. The things that really that I have a passion for. So that is what I will keep doing, and will keep doing on the streams on Corba Crew. I will try to make you have a good time. That is sort of the goal of everything, and that is why this rant started negative, but will end positive. I promise you. I want it to end positive. Oh goodness. I want it to end positive, and yeah, all that. Now, one thing that I want to do, and I've been thinking about so much, some people have been suggesting it, but I feel like I should and I could actually do it now. I want to add a GoPro to this conversation that I'm, well, basically having with myself, but I want to add a GoPro to all of this podcast, and I think that would be so much fun. Right, I would just put it on my dashboard, and if I were to crash into that car, for example, you prick, if I were to crash, I would have proof of it, right? That would be glorious, and it would just, well, give a nice background for you guys, right? It's raining right now, but by the time I've installed the whole thing and I've thought about how I'm gonna do it, it will probably already be spring and lovely sights, so let's hope for the best. Anyway, so positive things, right? I want to focus on positive things. And a while ago, I was telling this story to myself, because, yeah, I'm that kind of... Did you really think I was not the kind of person that would talk to himself? Come on, man. And I was telling this story, and I suddenly realized something about my childhood. And I also realized, well, this entire podcast idea of talking to myself in the car actually is kind of therapeutic, because I realized something about myself, and it was like just the world kind of opened, right? So that was really funny, and that is the moment I decided, like, well, I'm definitely going to keep doing these podcasts, and even if no one listens, I kind of just feel like doing them. So we'll see, and hopefully I keep improving them, because it's something that is on my mind a lot. So it definitely will be improving a ton. I've been thinking about buying a new mic again. I mean, that would literally be the third mic I use for this podcast in 2-3 months. But I just want to bring you guys the highest of qualities. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Therapeutic experience. As you know, if you've been listening to the podcast or have been watching any streams at all, or listened to the first half of this, I love entertaining and I love presenting, right? So I do a lot of presentations. Side note to that I just think of right now, I always say presentations, right? Because I think that sounds British and I like it. I just like the way that it sounds, presentations. But does anyone actually ever say presentations? Is it? It's probably pronounced presentation. Presentation? It doesn't sound well. Presentations. It's presentations, right? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what I should use in the future, or if it annoys you the way I pronounce things. Anyway, so you know I'm passionate about presentations, right? And that is, high school was a blast for presentation. High school and college, they both were just a gold mine for creative ideas for presentations. And I remember in high school, I always would make some kind of special presentation. So I want to talk to you guys about some of the special presentations that I did, and in the end lead to the revelation that I had about my personality and about children in as a whole. Well, not children, but bullying. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'm getting distracted again. Shut up. Okay. So one of the presentations that I did was we needed to read a book. If you know it, Oscar et la Dame Rose. It's a French book. It was French class. It was a French book, and we needed to present one of the scenes from that book. We needed to analyze it, talk about it in detail. And I looked at my buddy. I might have told this story already, by the way. I looked at my buddy and I asked him, like, hey, because it was in Paris, and I asked him, like, hey, mate, I think I have a really good idea for this. Would you possibly trust me into making this entire presentation myself and just give you the script and just tell you what to do? And he said, yeah, sure, let's do it. Like, he accepted, which I was amazed by. No one has ever accepted that offer. No one has ever trusted me that much. But he did. And I started writing a theatric piece, almost. So I wrote this entire scene where me and him would play the two characters of the story, Oscar et la Dame Rose. So he would be the grandma and I would be the child, basically. And I wrote this scene as if we were in an actual play. I asked the teacher about it, if it was okay, if we were to do our presentation in another room. And, well, she couldn't book that room. Another room because we wanted to play with the lights, right? We wanted to use the lights in a certain way. I'll tell you about it in a bit. And the teacher, obviously, she wanted creativity. So she said, yeah, that's fine. We can definitely do that. But I can't book that room for this week. So I will give you 2 weeks more to prepare for this. 2 weeks, what's it called? Delay, I guess. I can't find the word, but it doesn't matter. She was going to give us 2 extra weeks to work on this, because that is the time she could book that room. She said it had to be brilliant, because we got extra 2 weeks, but you know, the pressure was nothing. So eventually we got in the room, and my idea was we had the left part of the stage and the right part of the stage, because it was actually a room with a sort of stage that was like 10 centimeters above normal ground level. So we had the left side and the right side, and on the left side there was a table where me and the grandmother and the woman would sit, and we would act out the scene, right? So me and my buddy would sit at the table. We would be acting out the entire scene that we were presenting. And every once in a while, we would kind of have a freeze frame. So the other person would sit still, the lights would go out on the left side where the table was, and the lights would go on the right side. And then one of us would, in turn, go to the light side and kind of monologue, kind of talk about the details of what we, the person, the character, was thinking in that scene, in that moment. And that sort of was our presentation. That was where our analyzing came to be. And we talked about how we analyzed the scene was hidden in that monologue. And I asked another buddy of mine to handle the lights so we could have smooth transitions. The transitions were perfect, by the way. Like, the whole thing was one of the best presentations that I've ever done. Not information-wise, but just feel-wise, right? So it was amazing. The one side went black, went dark, and it was freeze frame, and the other side was a monologue. That was the entirety of the presentation. And the brilliant part of it was that on the table, you couldn't see it, but our papers would be laying on the table. So our script, everything we were saying, was laying on the table. So we couldn't forget our text. Because while we were acting out the scenes, we could look at the words we had. And then obviously the monologue would be without a text, so we would have to memorize that part. But it wasn't as much memorizing as normally because we had our text right there. And the teacher never noticed. So she was really happy with us because it was so creative. Well, I'm patting myself on the back here, but those were her words as well as mine. So anyway, That was a really good presentation. And all of these presentations that I did throughout the year gave me the courage to do more and to do more special presentations by the end of my school career. Especially for this teacher, because she always gave extra points if you were creative about it. Creative about what you did. The teacher loved you. So she loved me. And the next presentation came up. And I thought, I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to make something special out of it. Obviously, again, that's my first thought whenever someone says I need to do a presentation. I want to make something special out of it. And this specific one, I don't really remember. I think we needed to do a French presentation, by the way. These were all French, which is not my native tongue, for those that don't know. My native tongue is Dutch, Belgian Dutch, to be specific. So this next one came around, and we needed to do it about a celebrity from Flanders, where I'm from. So I decided, okay, I can play around with that. There is this one celebrity who is really extravagant, right? I'm not, by the way. I'm invisible. If I'm not on stage, if I'm not presenting, I'm invisible, right? I just have really neutral clothes. I don't say or do anything that just catches the spotlight. I'm just there. But this presentation was going to be about a celebrity that was really, really extravagant. The sort of, he was a gay guy, or he's not dead. He's a gay guy, and, a bit Elton John. Elton John, how extravagant that he is with the feathers and all that. Now, this guy is really into fashion, and he's a fashion writer, journalist, I guess. There have been TV programs about him revamping someone's closet, all that kind of stuff. But he's known to be brutal about it, right? The type of gay guy that is just really, really sassy about your clothes. So that is why he's famous. That is why he's so amazing. But like the way he speaks as well, it's just, his catchphrase is like, I can't do it. I can't translate it in English. I can't really translate his catchphrase in English. It's something like, but why? Yeah, something like that. I can't really do it, but in French and in Dutch it worked. So that is kind of who he is. And I decided, okay, the presentation is about him, so why not just be him? I did that entire presentation trying to match his voice, trying to match the way he is, like his mannerisms and stuff. Like he does a lot of stuff with the hands and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of impersonated him because he's just so funny and he's just so good at what he does. So I wrote this entire script where I would be criticizing people's fashion choices in the room. But keep in mind, like, that is improvising because I didn't know what people was going to be wearing. I was just going to improvise that part of it. But it actually turned out really well. It went all just brilliantly. It went smooth. And for the rest of that school year, that teacher would constantly be, whenever she saw me in the hallway, she'd be like, "Oh, Matthias, but why?" Like, she would always just go like that to me because I did that one presentation. And while I was telling that story, right, we're back in the car, while I was telling that story kind of to you guys, but I wasn't recording, I suddenly realized, well, actually, that is a really crazy story. That is really weird that I did that. Like, one, it's weird. It's just objectively a really weird presentation that I did. But on the other hand, that is risky. Because I was in high school. High school is a brutal place. And I'm just gonna impersonate a gay guy with all of the mannerisms of like Elton John in front of my whole class? High school is brutal. How did I dare to do that? My brother got bullied insanely much, like American movie much. And I didn't really get bullied that much, but still, I dared to do that in front of a classroom with high school kids that potentially could have bullied the crap out of me. That is really ballsy that I did that. Now, I was thinking about how come I didn't get bullied, right? How come I didn't get bullied in that situation? Because they totally could have. They could have made fun of the accent that I did, the whole the mannerism or the gestures with my hands that I did. They totally could have done that. Because that is just the way high school kids are. So I was thinking, like, how come I survived that? How come I dodged that bullet? Was my class just that nice? But at the same time, I think a part of it was that I was doing something that I was passionate about, right? I didn't care what anyone what anyone thought, because it was something that I knew would be great. I was convinced that this was gonna be a great presentation and people were gonna laugh. Laugh, not at me, but like about the whole situation. So I knew something was there, and because I knew kind of what I was doing and I believed in myself that much, I wasn't worried about any sort of bullying. And I think that kind of goes to show that maybe it's your passion and you knowing that that there's something there. Maybe that knowledge of all of that. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I think that if you follow your passion and you know that it feels right and you know that this is what you're meant to do right in that moment, I don't think anything can stop you. Sure, you will get bad people along the way that will try to get you for it. I think it was a bit of a combination for me of having, one, a nice class and good friends around me, and a good teacher that was encouraging me to do this. But two, I think, if I remember correctly, some people did sort of say something about it, but because I loved it so much, and I just saw it as encouragement, like, oh, hey, you're doing it? Yeah, but bye, got it? Like, because I was that passionate about it, I didn't see it as bullying. I didn't take it like that. And if you don't take it as a hurtful statement, you're bulletproof. You're bulletproof. They can't do anything because you're not taking it as bullying. If you're that sure of something, if you're that convinced of what you are doing is feeling right and is being true to yourself, then I think truly that you could be bulletproof. That nothing could ever faze you anymore in that field. And I'm still amazed at it. I'm still like, I can paint a word picture for you to describe what was happening there or what I was doing there, but I don't think it could ever live up to what the situation was actually like and the danger I could have potentially put myself in. It was later on in high school, but still, it was a really risky thing for me to do because, like I said earlier, I was usually a bit of a hidden kid, a bit of a camouflaged kid. I would always be invisible to everyone because I didn't want the spotlight. But these things just felt so right, just felt like, hey, everyone is doing boring presentations. I can do better. I can do something that they've never seen before. I don't care about the grade. I care about actually getting that laugh and see what happens. That is what I cared about. That was all. And I think in that moment of knowing what I wanted and knowing who or what that was meant to be, knowing that, just made me forget about all that. Made me forget about being nervous about being in the spotlight, putting myself out there, risking it all just to get a laugh. I didn't think about that at the moment anymore because I was just that passionate about it and I wanted it that much. So that yeah, I concluded it about 20 times at this point. You know what I mean? And I do think that I'm gonna miss that, right? I'm not in high school anymore. I'm not in college anymore. I'm never really gonna be in a classroom anymore where I'm gonna be presenting the stuff that I did. I don't think that is gonna happen anymore. Watch me be in a classroom like next week now. No, but I don't think that's really gonna happen anymore, and that's a shame because that's really fun. And I do think I need to sort of keep that creative outlet. I kind of now do it through Twitch and through Corba Crew to kind of entertain you guys, right? To entertain someone. If I could make... I used to always say this. If I could make one person's day a small, tiny little bit better, then I think my day was successful. I think I left a good impression there. You know, I think making someone's day a little bit better every day makes it worth it. It makes everything worth it. If you haven't influenced someone in a good way in your day, then I'm always just sitting there like, yeah, I didn't really do anything today, did I? Sure, I did my work and I did my, back in the day, homework, but I didn't really change anything, did I? So, yeah, that has always been sort of important to me, and I've said this a million times on Minecraft as well. Whenever I was really actively staffing on back then it was called Corbercraft. Back then on Corbercraft, I was staffing actively, and I always had this in mind. If I can just make one person's day a little tiny bit better, then it's all worth it. Then all of the time that I put into that Minecraft server, all of the time that I've been behind my computer and my mum has been yelling at me like, hey, go outside, then it's all been worth it. And I tried to not keep it at one person, obviously. I tried to make as many people laugh in a day as I could on Minecraft or off Minecraft. It didn't really matter that much. So that is sort of who I definitely used to be as a kid, and right now as an adult, it's getting more difficult because there is a lot of worldly influences that make it harder and that make me scared sometimes, right? I want to be on Twitch and I want to risk it all and just make you laugh and entertain you. It would be so much fun. But at the same time, I know that there are things that I don't understand in the world, and it makes me scared in a sense that I could hurt someone or offend or insult someone without knowing it. And that is scary, and because for a lot of people it doesn't seem to matter whether you knew or the intent behind something doesn't seem to matter as much anymore as it used to. So the entire intent story, it does, I will admit, right? I will admit that scares me a little bit because I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose this creative outlet where I can try to make someone's day a little bit brighter every single day. It would hurt me if I would lose that sort of outlet, right? So that is a bit what restricts me in a sense on Twitch, because you just never know. You never know what's gonna be that thing that is gonna change a lot. So that is a bit. I'm not gonna spiral back into the whole negative. I'm still gonna be there on Twitch, by the way. Like yesterday, I just had to not go online because I would have gone on too much about the negative stuff. But I think knowing all that about my past, about if you're really passionate about something, then you're bulletproof. Well, I do think that could could change a lot. I'm sorry for the pause, but I suddenly noticed something, and I'm really wondering if that thing that I just noticed is actually what I think it is, right? I usually struggle in the morning. I have to wake up pretty early, go to work, but in winters, or right now it's spring, but let's be honest, it's Belgium, it's still kind of frosts here. I have to clean my windows and mirrors and all that because it all gets condensed on it and gets frost on it at these temperatures. And my mirrors have always been really hard to clean, and sometimes they're still sort of wazy and just still difficult to see through. And I just found a button that is linked to the mirrors, and on the button it shows sort of like a heater symbol. So do I have heaters in my mirrors? Do I have that? Is that a thing? Am I just being plain dumb right now? I know this is... Well, I want to say this is a modern car. It's not really a modern car, but it's modern compared to the car that I used to... Well, compared to my mom's car. By the way, for those listening, I'm not from America, so having a car in Europe is not as common as it is in America. If you want to move, if you want to visit your neighbors, you basically always need a car in America. But in Europe, it's a bit more condensed, like all the people. It's a bit more dense here, in many ways. Well, no, I don't. Okay, well, whatever. Jeez, I'm getting distracted by a lot today. But yeah, all is going good now. I'm over it. Let's say the world is messed up, but I'm not. So let's have a party while we're here, right? It's actually my one to last day. By the time that this is airing, by the time you will be listening, my first project has ended. I've invited a bunch of friends to go out to dinner and play pool afterwards. And I think I might just stay at a hotel in the city because I just want to have a really good time with friends without looking at the time, without watching what I'm doing because, I still need to drive home. I think I'm just going to throw my car somewhere in the parking lot and literally just stay in a hostel or a hotel or something for a night. I'm not that far from home, but I don't want to have to go, there's a train, I need to catch my train, whatever. I just kind of want to have a good time Friday night. It's my first ever project that has ended, okay? I'm now a grown man with a paying job. Isn't that amazing? Isn't life just great, right? Isn't life just great? And actually, that actually brings me to another point. So, I have been accused sometimes, right, of being flirty with people when I don't intend to be flirty at all. And I take this very serious, by the way. Don't see this as me just joking around and annoying people. No. I take this very serious. This is a problem that I have. But usually that problem shows up online, right? I try to be nice to people and I enjoy a random chat here and there. So sometimes I'm talking to someone and I notice hey, whoa, this person is getting feelings for me. That is not, I was just being nice. You live in freaking China. I'm not trying to get in a relationship with someone in China. Not specifically towards the Chinese, but more the distance. I'm not gonna do the distance, okay? If I'm in a relationship, I wanna be able to hop in my car and go hug her within 20 minutes, right? I'm not gonna have an online. It's just not for me. I believe it works for some people, but it's not for me, and I don't think it's for most people. But that's for each their own to decide. So I've been told that sometimes I come across kind of flirty, and it's sad to me because I just try to be nice to people, and then it comes across flirty, and then it becomes wrong. I don't remember where I'm going with this story. I don't remember where I'm going with this story, to be honest. But yeah, it's something that I need to... Oh, right, I remember. It's something that I need to pay attention to. And it was recently a conversation topic somewhere. And then the other day, I wanted to ask a friend of mine, well, a new friend of mine from work. She works for the same company as me, so she gets sent out to projects as well. And she was put on the same project as me. So obviously we got a friendship because we were from the same company. So we already have a bond there, right? The ice is already broken. It's pre-broken for us. And yeah, we've been hanging out, not really outside of work, but just at work and then at a work event and stuff. And I was thinking like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if she came to the dinner as well? Yeah, just my friends and her, we would go out to dinner, we would play some pool, just celebrating that I finished my first project sort of successfully. I thought that was a good idea, but then, because there had just been a conversation topic about me sometimes coming across flirty, I was like, oh no, can I actually ask her to come? Can I actually invite her to dinner with my friends? Like, is that gonna come across as me actually inviting her to dinner in like, hey, you wanna go on a date sort of way? Which was not my intent at all. So I start completely overthinking the situation. Sure, like I wanted to come because it would be fun, like to kind of close the project. It would be with the person that I worked with at the project. That would be sort of fun. But then I completely overthink it, and I'm like, oh no, wait, I can't invite her now, just because I have that irrational fear of getting understood wrongly and kind of maybe possibly hurt someone in the way. I wouldn't want to send out the wrong signals. So literally, I'm just sitting there all night thinking like, can I ask this girl to dinner out with my friends? Can I or can't I do that? I don't know. So I just completely waste my entire evening thinking about that, while sometimes I'm just like, and in the end that is what I decided to do. Just, F it, like, I want to do this, so I'm gonna do everything I can to make that happen. So I want to have a nice dinner with friends. I'm gonna do whatever I can to make that happen. So I'm just gonna ask everyone that I want to be there to be there. So eventually, I just said like, oh hey, I'm going out with... I tried to do it as casually as possible, okay? I'm still, even though I said F it, I'm still an overthinker, okay? I still struggle tons. So I'm just as casual and as breezy as I possibly could. Like, yeah, I'm going out to friends with dinner. What about you? Now, I'm going out to dinner with friends. You possibly, maybe, hey, if you would like to join us, right? Just go out to dinner, just playing pool. It probably came across so weird. Just to make sure I didn't come across flirty. It probably made it even worse, because now it was like a nervous, stumbling sort of guy trying to ask a girl if she was... this whole situation, it makes me cringe, man. I'm so sorry you have to listen to this. Well, you don't have to listen to this. You can just close it. Don't forget to like and comment down, please. Thank you. Please don't go. If you go now, I'm gonna be alone because you're the last person listening. Anyway, to conclude the story, she couldn't. She already had plans with other friends, which she didn't invite me to, by the way. Just saying. But yeah, so that is the entire story of Matthias not asking out a girl. How is that a thing? How is it a story not asking out a girl, right? It should be an awkward and cringy and terrible experience asking out a girl. But no, I managed to make a situation that is completely normal, asking a friend to go and do something fun, and I managed to make it all about me and all about my insecurities. Oh, days. You know, life can be so easy. I just manage to make it difficult sometimes. I'm me. And I don't apologize for any of it. I wish I didn't say that. But you know, I hear something terrible and I think, I can make that worse. It is sort of a thing I do. I must admit that I see someone say something that I think is kind of dumb, and I just see it, I think, that's funny, I can make that worse. And then I make it worse, just you know, whatever. A friend asked me and a bunch of others recently, like, hey, what is your opinion about people, I'm not going to say the brand, because otherwise now I'm going to start a war in the comments, about people that drive this car. I'm just going to call it car X, because otherwise you guys are going to destroy me in the comments or something. And I look at it and I'm like, well, that's so shallow to judge someone based on the car they drive. Like, based on the brand of car they drive, by the way. You can judge someone that has a sticker on their window that says, I kill kids, then judge them away, right? But by the brand of their car is just, it's a bit shallow in my opinion, right? So I see that question and I'm like, well, she didn't mean anything by it, but I thought it was a dumb question, so I think, I can make that worse. So I knew what her opinion was. I knew her opinion was bad. She doesn't like people with that brand of car. So I just said, well, I don't generally judge people by the brand of their car, but I suppose those people are pretty smart. And I just left it at that, because I knew with that phrase alone, something would just explode in her mind. I was just having some fun, honestly. She knows that. We've talked about that before. That was just, and what I meant by it, people that drive that car, I actually do think they are smart in a way, because I do like that brand, and I do think I've driven that brand before once or twice, and they're very comfortable cars. They drive comfortably. You don't hear a thing. Right now, I can blur it pretty well, but the noise you would hear normally if I didn't do anything to the audio right now, then you would hear the engine and all that. In that other brand of car, you don't really hear the engine. It's a really smooth sort of experience. So I like the car. So I said, well, they're pretty smart, those people, because, well, it's a really good car, so good choice on them. I just knew what I caused when I said it. Sometimes I see someone have an opinion that I just think, that's a dumb opinion. I'm gonna just make it worse. I'm gonna be so far on the other side that you're gonna hate me. You're not gonna want me dead, you're just gonna want me wounded. Really, really wounded. So I did that. And that is a bit my evil side, I guess. That I just have that reflex to sometimes decide not to empathize with someone and just make it worse. You know, it's not a good thing, but is it such a bad thing when it's just your friend? Twitter is a good space for that. Then it doesn't even need to be your friend, it's just online, so you just say something. You don't really tweet it at anyone in specific, you just tweet it knowing someone will get angry. And then you just watch it all happen and watch it all unfold. And that, I think that is the only good that Twitter still has to offer. I'm not a fan of Twitter. Never have been. It's not used as much in Belgium as it is in the United States. But yeah, I don't like the platform. It just, for some reason, it became this toxic sort of world. And I follow a lot of philanthropists that I really enjoy, just watching them give away money and watching them help these specific people that maybe need it, maybe not, but they try to find someone that needs it and try to give them money to at least, for example, during the holidays, they would be like, oh hey, here, you can't really have a good holidays with your kids, so here's $100, buy a roast dinner or buy whatever your kid's favorite dinner is for Christmas, here you go. And I like that sort of like small stuff, because it's just, you only create a difference for this one person, but still, it's such an important, it's special to me. And it always reminds me back of this one story, and I think I shouldn't tell that story now, because I want to have an entire separate podcast for that, because it's a story and an event, a moment that really truly impacted me, and well, to change me into who I am today. Right, for those that I'll already say what I'm talking about. For those that know it, they know it. Otherwise, look for the podcast Starfish Story. There will be a separate episode that is literally just called Starfish Story, and I'll talk about that then. But those that know what the Starfish Story is, about the kid throwing back the starfish back into the ocean and saying like, well, it mattered to that one. Just changing one life is already so important to me. So I like watching that on Twitter. And for example, Mr. Beast, whatever you think of him, whatever you think of his content, I don't watch his content always because I think it's a bit extravagant. I don't enjoy watching the extravagant stuff, but I do like the philanthropy stuff. Just he's in a restaurant and he's just suddenly like, oh hey, you know what? Here's a tip of like $100, and that's insane. Like just randomly giving people like what they really need. I hope to be able to be that kind of person at some point. Whoops. Like I already try and do that with Corba Crew and the small influence that we have. We have done a bunch of our charity streams before, and try to, it doesn't. With our charity streams, it never really was about really gathering money for a certain charity. That was a great side cause, but it was more about influencing people, right? It was showing that with very little, you already could make a difference in the world. And that is why the slogan of Corba Crew has always been, always since I've been around, since we had 30 subscribers. Corba Crew has always been about trying to make a difference, right? You'll see it in the logo. Sometimes I put the slogan underneath it to make a difference. And that is what the charity streams are about. We're trying to make a difference. We're not trying to completely overwhelm this charity with all the money we have gathered. No. We're just trying to show that, hey, even with very little, you already have a voice and you already can do something, right? Something you care about, something that matters. So that's important to me. I've been ranting for a long time, just going from one subject into the other, just skiing between them. Talk about skiing. I went skiing recently. It was a company outing actually. So I've been working for this company as a project consultant. They send me out to projects, and I worked there for a couple months. And my company, the company that I worked for, they hosted this company-wide retreat for one day. well, not even one day, it was one evening, just, we went indoor skiing, well, what's it called? A team building exercise, right? Team building, while we don't really have a team, because all the project consultants, we barely see each other because we get sent to other projects all the time. You sometimes meet other project consultants, but that's, so yeah, we went skiing, and me and that friend that I talked about earlier, the friend that I met at the project, we've never been skiing, so we were really nervous, and we just made sure, like, okay, we need to be in the same group that both just tell to the guys that they don't know how to ski, and they just take a lesson, right? So we both took a lesson. It was a small hill that we just kept going up and back down and up and back down. It wasn't that exciting, to be honest. But eventually, I did do a lesson once before. I did the exact same thing as I did that day once before. Oh golly. And it all came back fairly quickly, actually. So by the end of it, I was kind of actually skiing, It was getting kind of smooth. I just try to let go. Well, not let go completely, because, you could die. But just kind of let go and just not tense up your muscles so much, and just go with the waves, right? Your legs will let your body know where to be so that you are in balance. Your body is quite majestic, right? Hey, you listening? Your body's majestic. You get why people think that I'm flirty sometimes while I don't mean it? Yeah, that. No, your body is so amazing. It knows how to stay in balance. It knows exactly what to do and how to stay in balance, and it adapts so insanely quick. Suddenly you have these enormous feet. You have these things underneath your feet that completely mess up your balance, but your body adapts. It instantly knows, like, okay, if I lean that way, it does that. If I do this, then that, then that. And that is so magical about your body. It just knows what to do. And it knows how to do it. So I was just kind of leaning into it and starting to trust my body and trust what it was doing. And it did sort of help until I suddenly lost my balance and I was flailing my arms all over and was just skiing down, but I was not in balance, not in control at all. But I didn't fall, and that brings me back to my point that your body is magical. Again, a really weird phrase. I shouldn't say to people that their body is magical. I shouldn't do that. I don't know why I do it. I don't mean it. I don't mean that. Well, your body is magical, but that's just a coincidence. I'm not trying to flirt with you. Whoever that is still listening, I'm not. I'm just saying that if you believe in it, God made our bodies great. That is all I'm saying, okay? If you believe in it. If you don't, then, well, the atoms or the Big Bang made our bodies great. Let's just say it. Evolution made our bodies great. If you believe in that. Okay? I don't know where I'm going. Anyways, guys, it's been insane, and we're just gonna stay positive, and we're just gonna stream some freaking amazing stuff. And just have fun with it, right? I've been getting feedback that people want events and want to see more events. So I think on CW we're gonna focus on that, right? We're gonna bring events back. We have already been focusing on that, by the way. Oh, happy Easter, by the way. It's Easter. By the time that this is airing, obviously not by the time I am sitting here now, but by the time this is airing, it's Easter. So I hope you enjoyed your chocolate. You know what's a weird tradition? I don't know what it's like in each and every country that you guys are from, but in Belgium, on Easter, we hide chocolate eggs and the children go look for them. That is a tradition. Now, for the Dutchies listening, the people from the Netherlands, they have a different tradition. I think it's the entirety of the Netherlands. Maybe it's just a certain part of the Netherlands. They hide hard-boiled eggs. And I just can't help but feeling that that's a bit of a disappointment for that one Belgian child that moves to the Netherlands and wants this chocolate on Easter. And they just discover a hard-boiled egg. They probably just... Well, kids are pretty stupid, so they probably just think like, ooh, an egg, and they bite in it, and it's just blood everywhere, you know. It's just... It's a bit of a weird tradition. I don't know why they just feel the need to put actual eggs down. I don't even know where the tradition of chocolate eggs came from, but I feel like chocolate eggs do make a little bit more sense than hard-boiled eggs. It's just, you know, why? Feels like a waste as well. Just so many hard-boiled eggs. They go bad, you know. And then this one guy today was telling us, this one Dutch guy was telling us that they used to find these hard-boiled eggs and then start throwing them at each other. That was brutal. What are the Dutch kids like? They just throw hard-boiled eggs at each other. And then, imagine as a parent, I would be like that. I'm evil enough to be like that. As a parent, if I knew my kids would be throwing those hard-boiled eggs at each other, I would just hide one soft-boiled egg in there and then just watch the splash happen, people. Just watch them throw the eggs, all having fun, and then that one single egg that hits the smallest kid in the head, and it would just splash everywhere, and just crying, and beautiful, innit? Anyway, I told you I was going to end on a happy note. Happy Easter, and I will see you in the next podcast video thing. Bye-bye!